It was very interesting throughout the chat. It's the first time I've been showing Wind was showing me herself as masculine, feminine as singular, and plural throughout the whole chat. It kept shifting. So she kept slipping between me, the wind, and us as the global wind systems that we have going around.
I am the air that surrounds you, working within you as you breathe me in and out of your bodies. The trees breathe me, they know me well. I am within and around everything that exists here on this earth. I breathe life into her.
She was also showing me that there are many. The wind is constantly shifting and changing. And she said we move around and we form an ocean of air. So sort of saying it really resonated similar to the chat we had previously about the oceans. And they're doing a similar system but above ground to keep us all going. She's saying that we provide the movement of air. We work together. Air is your support and I offer freedom.
Bring herself back to being just the air, was the calmness, stillness of where there's that peace. Whereas when she's windy, that's when we're bringing things up inside of us, but it's the same form. She's calm and at peace when she's just the air, and then she's awakening and changing and moving things, just as we would if we were sitting there and meditating, or just sitting, being still and finding peace within. Or when we're up, talking, thinking, feeling, moving, doing, then we're windy, showing us that shift in our state of being.
Wind has offered, we provide sail, we provide power, we provide calmness, and we provide waves. So again, it's interesting that at this point she's gone to the plural. It's them all working, the ones all around the globe working as a team. I will teach you to trust and I will teach you to feel. It's the movement of air that we provide. We revitalise areas of molecules. We mix them up to shake things up. She sounded a bit mischievous when she said this. We prevent stagnancy, which we're quite susceptible to as humans. Do that. She says we keep the energy flowing to energise it and all that it comes into contact with.
I am here for movement, to move all that is stagnant within and without. So she is moving everything that is within us, all of the emotions, the fears, beliefs, she's shaking it all up within us, but she's also moving everything physically outside of us, within the physical world around us.
As friction can provide fire, we can energise by jiggling the particles around. Don't be afraid to mix things up and shuffle things around. A lot falls into place when you jiggle things around. And she actually showed me, you know, like those games you get where you've got to get things in a board and there's all different shaped things. You can sit there trying to put them all in, but sometimes when you just give it a shake, everything just slots into place as it's meant to do. And she's showing me that. So again, it's that randomness, it's the lack of control. She was bringing that up a fair bit, just to release, and everything will fall into place.
You must trust me. I have great purpose. And she showed me destruction of tornadoes, cyclones, mass destruction on the planet that we are all afraid of, that we all want to try and control and not let happen. But she's trying to reassure us that she has great purpose with that.
She says, I bring you smells, rain, sunshine, disease, sound, air and clouds, warmth and coolness. I can bring you freshness or recurrent motions. When she was showing me this, she was showing me like the cyclones, the tornadoes, that if we haven't learned from something, that lesson keeps coming back to us. And we know that ourselves, that if we haven't actually ever resolved something, it will come back to us. So she was showing me that it's cleansing, whether it's fresh or repetitive. It will keep going in a circling motion, or it could just be something that needs to be brushed through in our life. And that's when it's the freshness that they offer us.
I am here to remove all that is no longer of use to you. Do not fear me, understand me. Understand yourselves.
Sensuous or temperate, we bring the seasons. Wind offers choice. So you can either say, which way do you want to turn? I can turn with you, I can turn for you, or I can turn against you, depending what you are wanting and you are needing at the time. So it's a support system, as well as the air. They're working together the whole time. Allow and use me to help you, to support you, and to challenge you. And that's the constant shifting. She's knowing that as humanity and as individuals that we're constantly shifting and changing, and they're doing the same with us. So what we're needing at the time, they're going to exaggerate for us that we can work together. I can help you bend. I can help strengthen you. I can help push you along. I can stop you or divert you. And that could be either gently or firmly. Probably depending on what we're needing. Some of us don't get the hint as much as others.
You do not understand me because you cannot control me. And this is that control coming out again, which is exactly what you've explained as well, is that it's a reoccurring theme that's been coming through everything we've been speaking to so far, is that humanity's state of needing to control everything, that's our ego state, but the wind is one thing that we can't control. We cannot control these big storms that come through. We are not able to, from our ego selves, control them. Understand yourselves better. What you can't touch, what you can't see. I scare you as I scare the horses. We're afraid of her because we can't control her. And she wanted to use the example of the horses to help people understand this power that she has over us. Horses are, their main sense of awareness in the wild is through hearing. That's why they can move their ears. They're hearing what's in all directions around them, they can hear. Sight is limited because they can only see from a meter in front of them, and they can't see from like a big triangle back behind them. So sight is very limited. So their ability to protect themselves from danger and hear and know what's coming is through the hearing sensory. Now on a windy day, that hearing gets muffed. They can't hear if there's some crackling in the trees over there. They can't hear if there's something coming through the grass. Their hearing sense of their protection, because remember they're flight animals, gets muffled out. They can't hear the dangers around them. So everybody that rides horses always has a very common thing that on a windy day, especially when you live in a country that you're riding the horses always outside, not inside and indoors, that on a windy day everybody hates riding their horses because their horses will get really on their toes and really scared of everything, and they're not calm. It's because their main hearing sense of protection is muffed out by the wind. So it's the same thing as when the wind is coming, she's expressing that we're getting muffed out from everything else, where our sensory of protection or connection, everything is getting muffed out. I speak to you in storms to awaken the storm within you. This was what that powerful message that she started out with, was basically that she is awakening that inner storm in us. So she's coming through, she's storming through, and she's coming in very loud and very clearly through the storms to awaken the storm that's already within us.
So I was asking her, where is humanity now? What's their perspective? And she replied, transient. Humanity is transient at the moment. She says, some of you are blowing through like a storm to cleanse and destroy old ways. Others are stumbling, finding their way. She's saying, like a gale can rip through the tired, crumbling and derelict, so can a fresh perspective.
I am coming with the storm, awakening humanity. So she's a very powerful part of that humanity awakening right now.
So to also be the wind for others when they need it. You don't need to be seen to be effective. It's not about being recognised. It's not about being recognised for what you do. It's about the doing. So there are many of us that might do things sometimes just because we'll be seen to be doing it. But she said, consider your actions today, yesterday, last week, and what you plan to do in the future. Are you doing them just because? Or are you doing them unconditionally? Are you doing them to be recognised for your actions? Are you seeking attention for your actions or earning attention through your actions? So that's quite a big thing as well. It's the purpose and the intent behind what we're doing. We need to rethink that one. We need to practice and realise being amongst others, doing what we do.
Time is on your side. It is a mental construct enabling you to process human life. It is made for you. Therefore, it can assist you. Change the belief that you do not have time, knowing that time was made up for you, so you have as much or as little of it as you desire. And she put emphasis on the word desire here and not need, because time is in alignment with your earthly life and can be used as you put clothes on your body. It is not a necessity, only a form to play with your life. She's showing that this time that we're using, that we're needing, that we feel as though we haven't got enough time for that, we haven't got enough time for this, or I need more time. It's something that we just play with. To clean up your mess, I must do this over your time construct. She said, look over your shoulder at your past. Do you see me? Working behind the scenes. I help you clean up your life. I move things. I rearrange them. I clear them. I bring new things to you. So she is movement. She is change. She is constantly moving things within us, moving things outside of us, movement. She is constantly moving everything around us. Time is like the wind. It's just moving things. We're playing with it. It's sometimes it's moving fast, sometimes it's moving slow. It's not a concrete construct. It's movable, it's movement, because we're playing with it. We created it and we're using it for our will. If you look at indigenous cultures and that, they don't have clocks and watches and times and the days of the week and this is got to be done by here and that's got to be done by there. That's our ego construct. Our ego need to control things, to place things in a system that we feel as though we can control.
It's amazing how the world does keep turning without clocks.
Once you realize that, then you can let go of that need for things to be done by this time, or I don't have enough time, I need more time, whatever it is, or I want this to go fast, or it's taking too long. It's about being present, being in the moment. And you will no longer be needing to be running ahead in time.
Use the destruction, and she's saying destruction because things aren't actually getting destroyed, but we see it as destruction. That's our humanness seeing it that way. She said, use the destruction and clearing of a stormy life challenge to re-evaluate and reconsider what changes are needed in your landscape, your environment, and your life. So it's that whole cleansing, clearing thing again. Things aren't getting destroyed, they're just being moved out of place so that we can rebuild, reevaluate. When it feels like it's falling apart within and around you, allow it to fall. I love this because we're always trying to control things, stop things falling, and keep holding things together. She's saying just allow it to fall. Stop trying to hold up derelict and crumbling patterns of beliefs and lifestyles. I absolutely loved that insight. It was just, yep, okay. It's giving you permission to just let things go. We feel like, because our belief systems is that we have to keep holding things together and control everything. It's not, just let it go, clear it out and start again. I love that. Let everything fall apart.
So I am here to shake you and all that is loose in you, just like I shake the dead leaves off the trees. She's here shaking away what we don't need anymore. She's here shaking things up, loosening things up in us to help us let it go. To release everything that is no longer suiting us, to release everything that is no longer vibrating with us.
What is seen as destruction by us as humans is in fact clearing. The challenges you encounter as an individual, a couple, a group, or as a whole species are the equivalent of us gusting through and clearing what is no longer needed. I love that. The rotting structures are what no longer serves your purpose. Derelict buildings are the clutter of your life. Whether that's emotional, materialistic, or mentally, we've got so many pillars in our lives. Old belief systems or learnt behaviours that are no longer resonating with you are cleared by those windy, stormy challenges. So we need to really start embracing them, trying to wrap ourselves up away from those gales.
When the wind arises, it brings everything to the surface. Anxiety, tension, change. We fear this, we don't like it. We fear that change. We fear all of these horrible feelings that are coming up with us. We fear all of this anxiety. We fear all of this tension. We fear it all. It's all coming up within us. And that's why we try to suppress it and we try to control it. When the wind dies down, we find peace again within ourselves. So we're always trying to control these things that are arising, that are coming up within us, so we can get back to that peace. But what she's trying to explain to us is that allow the storm to come through. The storm is coming through to clear out everything that is of no longer of use to us. So whether that is the inner storm of our inner emotions, beliefs, states of mind that we are clearing out, getting rid of, or an outer storm. Whether that is a storm, an actual physical storm that is coming through and tearing up things, buildings that we have built, things that we have made, or it's a storm within our life, change within our life, losing that job, losing that partner, losing that thing that we thought that we loved. Allow that storm to come through. Allow it to be removed from you because it's of no longer of use to you. So instead of fighting and resisting against the change, allow it, flow with it, let it happen, let it all go. Don't fear one or the other. It doesn't have to be always moving things. You don't have to always be growing and changing and moving things. And you don't have to always be a wise monk sitting there in complete peace. It's all got purpose. Shifting and changing, moving things, as well as being still and peaceful. Both of them have purpose. This was shown so strong about when I was showing all the cyclones and everything that was happening across planet Earth, is that not to fear the destruction, that it has purpose. She's clearing things out, she's moving things that always is in alignment with a higher order. We have to remember that. It's not just about humanity. It's not just about animal species. There's a larger unity of growth that is in alignment with everything that exists on planet Earth. And she has a very, very, very important part of shifting that, clearing that, and moving that.
Like the ocean, the wind offered, we ebb and flow and ebb, just as your emotions. In nature, in your environment, we all flow and ebb as one. So we pulse and breathe together, and she just showed me as this wonderful big entity with Mother Earth, just breathing and pulsing. It was just a beautiful feeling and sensation when she showed me that. The gusts we bring create the peaks and troughs for the ocean, just like you and your emotions. It is a multi-species environmental symphony, and we carry that music to you and all others. Hear what we bring. Listen and feel what you need to hear so that you flow with all. And I absolutely love that insight. It's just peaceful, harmonic. Love it. So that's how I'm going to hear the wind now from now on. This beautiful symphony as she comes through, whether she's blowing a trumpet or a cute little flute. Lovely.
While I was in Malaysia, and I was visiting a lot of Swamiji there, he was a Buddhist kind of master. So there was a Buddhist sect there that I would go and visit, and the head Buddhist master there that I knew well, I would sit with him and I would talk with him. One of the days that I was sitting there talking with him, it was a very hot Malaysian day. One of those days where it was just sun, heat, no wind. It was just this humid, thick air just sitting there. And we were talking for a little while, and he noticed that I was sweating quite a bit. And he said, "Oh, you are hot." And I said, "Yeah, but it's okay." And he said, "I call the wind." Across the front of us was a line of trees along the side of the temple, because we were sitting outside. We were sitting outside under a tree, but across the front of us was a line of trees. He was singing and chanting. I went in another language, so I don't know what he was actually saying. Singing and chanting and singing and chanting. And then the first tree furthest away from us, I just saw all the leaves just start moving. And then it literally went from one tree to the next tree, to the next tree, to the next tree, until it got closer and closer and closer to us. And then I just felt this wind around me. And it stayed with us for a few minutes, cooled me down a bit, and then it went away. And it went back to that thick, heavy air, but it cooled me down. After a little while that we were talking again, I got hot again. And the Swamiji said, I called the wind again. And he did exactly the same thing. The singing and the chanting, and the wind slowly came from one tree to the next tree, over, until it was right over me, and then it went away. Understand yourselves better. What you can't touch, what you can't see. Because the power that she was talking about, the Swamiji calling the wind, this is a power that is inherent and within all of us. She says, "I have a great teaching for you all, but you are not ready to listen. You still fear my power, the same power within you all. You do not understand me. You do not understand yourselves. You do not understand me. You do not understand yourselves. This great power that the wind has is the same power that we have within ourselves, but we're not accessing it yet. Because our humanity self is still in an ego state. And if the ego state was to try and access that power, it would be used for the ego's purposes. And this is why she wanted us to connect with the story of the Swamiji controlling and connecting with the wind, because he had already mastered himself. He had already dissolved his ego self. So he was able to work in harmony with nature itself. He was able to connect with the power of the wind, because he had already connected with the power of himself. And the wind is telling us that we will all have this access, we will all have this power, but we fear it because we don't understand it, because we don't understand that power that we have within ourselves, because we are still trying to control it. And the moment we let go of control of it is the moment that we fall in alignment with it, which is exactly what you explained before, about letting go of trying to control all the ebbs and the flows to allow it to flow, allow it to happen, allow it to come out, and then you understand it, you move with it.
We've used this before, and that's why we had to go back to the ego state. There was a civilization that used that, as the monk that you met, as he did that, there was a whole species, humanity was doing that. And that's why we fear it now, because it's been abused. We were using it, it got abused, and then it started to get used for the wrong reasons. So we've gone into ego state to be taught not to use and abuse, but to go back to, as you were saying, in harmony with it, rather than, and not trying to control it. It's been, in previous civilizations, has been controlled to be used for certain gains.
And that's the heart-based awareness. The heart-based awareness is about appreciating things. And so because we've abused it in the past, when we don't have it, and then once we gain it again, we have a new appreciation for it. So it's used with love, with respect, it's used with an appreciation, and it's cared for. And it's not just swindled away or used for the reasons of our greed, ego.
We haven't completely forgotten it, but we've been given that fear to respect it more, to respect that strength within us. Like, as you were saying with the horses, respect the strength of the horse, and you also fear that strength in the horse, and that's what the horses bring through for us. You know, any fears that we have, it's bringing up, and that's what she's showing, the civilization not using it correctly or trying to control it, and that's what we need to release until we fully understand it and her.
It will be transformed into a love-based power in harmony with planet Earth. So try to understand me as you understand yourselves. The constant comparison here is that the more we get in touch and in tune with ourselves and understand ourselves, the more we will understand her, and the more we will understand the wind.
She's asking us to master recognizing that flow within yourself, so you will flow and ebb in symphony and synchronicity with all. That is how you become one with all, when you recognize, feel, hear, and understand that in yourself. So we often talk about becoming one with everything, but I thought this was a really nice way to show how you can actually do it. You get in contact with nature, Mother Earth, the wind, the oceans, everything around us, feel that flow and ebb from them, connecting with our own ebb and flow, and then we can just get in synchronicity with them. It's a wonderful symphony, that one.
I am the unseen. Feel me instead. Don't think, feel. That is where you will find me. That is where you will find your true selves.
She needs to show us first to trust, to feel, because humans, we don't understand something that we can't see. We think it's either not there or we just can't compute that it's there. So that's why she's providing the movement of things unseen. So, you know, like you suddenly see a little dust storm come up or something like that, that even though we can't see it, it's invisible, it is actually there. And that's when she's going to take it to the next level of the trust what you feel, exactly what you're saying, that we need to go to the feeling stage. So once we completely understand if it's invisible, it's still there, 100% trust that, then that's when we're going to start feeling more. Because at the moment we're still doubting because we can't see it.
The unseen, the part of life, the part of ourselves that we don't understand, we don't access it by trying to see it. We access it by feeling it, whether that's feeling physical pain, whether that's feeling emotion, whether that's feeling the tension arising with us, whether that's feeling the changes around us. It's about going and sitting and feeling her, feeling ourselves, feeling life. That's the message from her. That's where you will find your true selves. That's where you will find your soul. That's where you will connect with who you are, is in that feeling. And that's where you will connect with your true power. The same power that the whirlwind wind has.
Just getting in touch with the ebb and flow of nature. So you'd be feeling the wind, you'll feel the oceans, you'll feel the water, your breath, absolutely everything. It's the peaks and the troughs that we go through is the ebb and flow of everything. So once we start resonating with our own and recognizing what we're going through when we do have a flow or when we've got challenges and different things like that, we can also see that in nature, but they've got their own and they go through their own challenges. So once we start recognizing that in them and ourselves, and then we can just start matching them up. So we've got that wave motion going, and that's that beautiful symphony of everything around us.